Welcome, everybody. It's another wonderful Monday night on Chewin the BBQ Fat. I am so excited about tonight's show. I've been talking about it for a month, I feel like. Man, it's going to be super exciting. We've got KCBS, we've got CEO, we've got the president, we've got Emily and Rick. It's going to be so exciting tonight. So bring your questions. We got a lot to discuss. But the first thing I want you to do is share the page, like the page, get it out there so as many people can watch it. I had to wear my glasses tonight, try to feel smart with all these highly intelligent people that we have on tonight. It's going to be a great show. But it's going to be a lot of fun. We had another full weekend of baseball. Had a great time. Cole, we didn't win, but I tell you what, we had some good competition. We played better teams. Got to play at Lake Point. If any of you travel ball people are familiar with that, it's amazing, absolutely amazing. The best of the best in the country come from all over the country to play at this place, and we were able to play there this weekend. But anyway, that's enough of baseball. Barbecue has been ramping up. And I know y'all are all excited to talk about it. So let's just go ahead and jump in. It's going to be, like I say, y'all, it's going to be a great night. Y'all be prepared to ask questions. Hello, Emily and Rick. How y'all doing?
Hey, Brian. Doing great. How are you?
Good. Thank you so much for spending your Monday night with us and talking barbecue. We've got a lot planned tonight. It's going to be a lot of fun. But Emily, I know you're a baseball mom also.
Oh yes, my weekend was spent out at the Diamonds as well. I was in Lee Summit, Missouri, which is a suburb of Kansas City this weekend. So my mom came down from Des Moines so she could see my son pitch. And now I'm going in multiple directions. My daughter's in competitive swim and my son's in baseball. So half the time I'm watching his games on YouTube while I'm with her until we get her out of the pool and then head on down to the game. So you know how that goes. It's always busy.
We've got two. I go to one game, Ellen goes to another, and we just watch them on Game Changer and try to go from there.
Yes. Well, and some of the dads think it's hilarious because on Saturday afternoons, I'm sitting there watching the game, but watching my Facebook Live so I can watch as many of the barbecue awards from around the country as possible. So I think it's awesome.
That's what we do, and I love it. So, but anyway, well, Rick, I'm going to let you introduce yourself real quick. Welcome to the show. First time on the show, so thank you for coming on.
Thanks, Brian. Thanks for having us on the show, too. I'm Rick Wagner. I'm the president of the board for KCBS this year. And those of you that don't know me, I'm a cook. I'm also a judge. I am Smoking Timbers barbecue team. I've been around since 2012. Just try to have fun, and every now and then I win a prize, and that's good enough for me. I think I like getting out and seeing all the people and having a good time at the barbecue events, and just recently started judging, and that's exciting too. Helped out the reps at one event this year also, so I got a little taste of everything this year. And then I got on the board last year for the first time. And I was a treasurer last year. I'm a CPA by trade. I've spent 40 years in the CPA industry, retired from that. And then immediately somebody hired me away so I retired for like 2 days and then went back to work. And my wife wonders when I'm going to retire again, but it'll happen someday. But I just retired so I can barbecue more, I think. And
exactly.
So I did that. And then did the treasurer last year and got lucky enough to be the president of the board this year. And our CEO, Emily, makes being president of the board pretty easy. She takes care of everything at the office. And I just get to, hit the gavel at the board meetings and see if we can get through those.
That's awesome. Thank you. That's cool. I've just tried to share this as much as I could. Emily, I'll let you introduce yourself again.
Yeah. So I'm Emily Detwiler, the CEO of KCBS. I've been on board for about 1.5 years now, coming up almost on 2 years in August. So it has been an interesting experience for sure, and I love it. Before I came on board, I would say I knew far more of the cook team side of things and also built programs to help organizers deepen their prize pool. One of the things that I would say now from the seat that I sit in, I really enjoy being able to take a broader picture and really think about all of the different types of people that it takes to make KCBS work well. So, we're obviously a membership-based organization. So every membership counts. When we think about all the different people that it takes. Obviously we think about the cooks and the pit masters, but the judges are every bit as important. The reps are super important. The volunteers, the contest organizers. It takes a lot of different people to really make everything work. And even just a small barbecue competition, but you scale that up and it gets big really quickly. So I'm really grateful for all of the people that are involved in KCBS in one way or another.
Yeah, that's kind of cool. We did a show or a couple shows, a series of trying to do the organizers, trying to do the reps, trying to get everybody in, just so people, understand what it takes to get a contest going, and how involved KCBS is, and how involved the organizers are, and how y'all work together. And I think it's just an impressive organization that makes all this happen. And it happens all over the world, right? It's not just in the United States, it's everywhere. We have people from Australia watching the show and all over. And it's just neat to see how KCBS is just blossomed everywhere.
Yeah, well, and you couldn't have said it better yourself, but I'll kind of segue in. This is our 35th anniversary. And, it's been really fun for me because Carolyn Wells is still very involved. She comes to the office every day. She loves to look through the history and talk about, where KCBS came from. She's helping us work on our 35th anniversary outreach right now and creating all of the stories, which is it's great to have the history, the present, and then working with the board on the future. So that's been really, really amazing. It's just fun to think about how KCBS really came from fairly humble roots. And, she and her husband and their friend had been doing some small competitions in the Kansas City area. And somebody said, let's do this. Let's put a set of rules together, create some, software, and do this. And it's just grown tremendously. And this is also our 10th year of international. So we've got contests and members in just about every single state in the U.S. And about 42 countries globally. So it's really grown significantly over the last 35 years. And, we've made it through COVID, and I think we're going to be just fine. So we look forward to continuing that momentum into the future.
Well, we'll talk about COVID later on in the show. And I know that's something that I want to get into. But, Rick, I know we talk about it started out as a points chase. So can you just give a quick explanation of what is KCBS? So what is the role for me as a cook? Why do I want to join KCBS?
Well, you're supporting barbecue, number one. You're supporting the sport of barbecue and competition. And then KCBS is the sanctioning body for all these events. The organizer is the one that actually controls the event itself, because many times these events will have festivals and all kinds of things with them. It's not just the barbecue folks. And sometimes it's just the barbecue event. And so they actually own the event, and we're the sanctioning body. What we bring to the table, though, is that we bring a set of rules. We bring a set of trained judges. We bring the rep that helps run the event, the contest itself between the judges and the contestants, the barbecue contestants. So it's brought off uniformly. And then in addition to that, we have, points chases that we can go after. And we've always had, for years, we've had the team of the year, the toy points chase, which names the team of the year for the entire year. And I took a look at that last year, and I first thought that I would, revamp it. Being an accountant, I said, we can think these numbers differently and, come up with something different, more fun or whatever. And I took a look at it, and I asked for some input, and I got a lot of input. And I don't mean that in a bad way. I mean in a good way. I mean, a lot of really good input. And I started reading the input that I got back, and I said, we might want to think about this a little more before we change the whole team of the year thing, because I'm getting some really good comments that are really kind of complicated to pull off. So I want to make sure we do this right. Any change that we do, we just don't want to make a change just to make a change. We want to make it count in what we're going to do. And so what we added last year, or added this year, we thought about it last year, and we added this year, was the 3 chases. And if you get into the barbecue as a competitor, especially, is the chases, there's 3 during the year, and we try to group them up where the number of events that you're going to have. And so the first one's actually November to April, because there's not as many events during that time period, so you have to have more months. And the second one is May, June, July, and the third one then is August, September, October. It follows the year. So you get the 3 segments, and each of these segments is like a little tournament by itself. And the team of the year for the overall for the year, which names the overall team of the year and all the categories and overall grand champion, everything, that takes 10 scores to average what you're going to be as a team of the year, even in the categories and the overall. And so we took these chases and we said, let's just use 5 scores. And so give all the people in the U.S. a chance to get into these chases. And if you get 5 scores in, you can compare yourself against everyone in the nation. And so we're just coming up on the end of the first chase. It actually ends on April 30, and that happens to be Friday. And I think there may be at least one meet contest that's going to happen on Friday. So we really won't know ribs, for instance, until after Friday. And then for all of us, that includes me, that's not going to get an award for the first chase. I get a mulligan, and I get to start over on Saturday, May 1st, for another 3 months. And it's a good thing because team of the year takes a lot of commitment, to get 10 good scores in. You got to cook in a lot of events to make that work out, unless you just happen to get lucky in the first 10 events that you're in. And so these chases, then it's 5. And so you can imagine, even in a 3-month time period, with the number of doubles that we see these days, where you get 2 events in a weekend and maybe even a single meet added to that, then you can get 5 scores in. You can get, more than 5 scores in and get your best 5 scores in and really see how you rank. And I kind of did it into 3 categories because as we've seen at the end of this first chase, this last month or month and a half, the leaderboard has just moved around. It's like watching NASCAR, who's in first and who's in, all of a sudden first drops to 10th, and
well, I've just pulled it up
problems
and looking at the results. I mean, it's not the same as the team of the year, the overall for 2021. Getting Basted is leading the first chase. I think, if I'm reading this right.
Yeah.
Getting Basted, Wolf's Revenge, and Rooters and Tutors is the top 3 that I see here.
Right.
And it's very similar to the team of the year, but like you say, that 5 contest gives other people a chance. And I love that. And when we talked about this, when y'all rolled it out and we were talking about this chasing, this is awesome. I really think this is it's a way to get anybody and everybody into these to the points chase. Because Rick, as you're saying, that is what is so awesome about KCBS is there's a lot of points chases out there, but everybody's going after that team of the year, the KCBS team of the year. And it's just cool. Like I have an opportunity to go cook and have a chance to win something. And I think, and I know it's always been in there, but it hasn't been as big of a deal or has brought as much attention to it as there is now. So
yeah,
I think
you're going to get multiple chances during the year. It's not like
right.
Not get halfway through the year and you're out of the team of the year. That's down to 20 teams that might have a chance at that. This you get to start over. You say, okay, I didn't do so good the first chase. I can start over again the second chase or third chase or whatever it may be. And it's like NASCAR where they have every 60 laps now. They have, winner of the 60 laps. And now we see crashes every 60 laps instead of just at the end of the race. Now we can see everybody chasing after this stuff all during the year rather than just, at the team of the year stuff, which is great. I mean, I commend those guys that do the team of the year. That's a commitment to go the whole year after that.
Yeah. So I only have a question. What percentage of the cooks or do you even know what percentage of cooks that cook overall KCBS contests that are KCBS members? Because I know you don't have to be a KCBS member to cook in a contest, but do y'all have that data? Do you know that answer? Or?
Well, I would say it is overwhelmingly a majority of members or of cooks who compete that are KCBS members. There are some who are not. I don't know the exact percentage, but I would certainly encourage folks to become a member. I mean, at the end of the day, membership is only $40. It's not that much, but it does help support the overall organization. And, KCBS puts a lot of time, money, everything into all of these contests to make them happen. And so, some people will say, oh, I'm not going to go for team of the year. I don't really care if I get my points for cooking in this contest. Well, I liken it to, because we're a membership organization, right? If you want this sport to continue to thrive, you need to do your part. And so I think that's a part of it. Obviously, we have some other tangible benefits that come from being a member, including things like our restaurant depot, passes, stuff like that. We're always working with our partners and potential partners on other types of membership discounts and things like that. But again, at the end of the day, it really does take all members to create a strong KCBS. So we've got, in honor of our 35th anniversary, starting May 1st, we are going to be doing a lifetime member special. So we frequently hear from our existing members like, hey, give us opportunities to do more and participate more. So we are going to do $100 off for everyone who is an existing member that moves up to the lifetime membership. So that's a great deal. $100 off for that. And then for new members, in honor of 35, we are going to do a special for the rest of the year for $35 for brand new members. So anyway, just kind of something fun as a new way to get people to come on board while also celebrating a big year for us.
Yeah, I mean, KCBS seems to always try to give back. I know that's a big thing. And Emily, I believe you are a big proponent of that, trying to give back and doing more for the barbecue community and others. And I know and I know, Rick, you talked about you just got on the board. Have you seen that the board is really pushing to give back to the members and give back to the barbecue community?
Yeah, I can tell you that ever since I got on the board, and then one of my objectives for this year as president is not only transparency with the board, but also we're trying to make sure that this is truly a nonprofit type of board where the board gives back to the organization and to the members rather than taking from the organization, as might have happened in the past. And so we want to make sure that we're giving back. We got a foundation. Nancy is in charge for a foundation for us now. And we give out, I think, if I remember correctly, Emily, since the foundation started giving out scholarships, we've given out over $130,000 in scholarships for kids going to college. That's for members' kids going to college. And they do a great job going through all the applications and looking for that stuff. A lot of the board members have donated not just their time, but also their money to KCBS to help with events and awards. And we also want to make sure that, we're not an organization that's trying to accumulate cash just so we have a lot of cash to invest. We try to make sure we get the right amount of cash to run the organization. But we're a member-based organization. That cash goes back to the members in one way, shape, or form, whether it be through contests, through annual points chases, or through the foundation, through the scholarships, or other charitable purposes that we try to support.
Awesome. I got to ask a couple questions that have been asked, and we'll get back to some of the other stuff. How many single meat contests have y'all seen? Are they taking off? I mean, I know there was one last weekend. There was a rib up in New Jersey. Is that taking off now, or are you seeing it build up, or what's the?
Emily knows the numbers better than I do.
I'll answer that. So yes, we are seeing quite a few of them. So for 2020, we beta tested with just ribs, and those did really well. I think we ended up just shy of 10, I think, for our first year. But we've seen quite a few of them already this year. And they're good for a variety of reasons. One, the teams really like them. Rick kind of mentioned that before. The teams love it because if they're already going to a contest, and especially for the Master Series teams, they count for the toy points. So, again, if you have an extra opportunity to get points in at a contest that you're already going to be at, it's just a great thing. The organizers like it because they can make some extra money. They're not having to pay any extra rep fees, in terms of bringing in a whole new set of reps because those reps are already there. So, they can actually make some money, some additional money anyway, because most organizers, let's be honest, do not make a lot of money putting these things on. So whether they're raising money for their charity or to just cover their overall cost for the event, they're really liking that as well. And we've certainly heard from the backyard teams already that they, love the idea. They, hope to see evolution of the program so that it'll count for their team of the year points next year. one of the benefits for a backyard team to cook in these contests right now is it gives them a chance to compete a bit against the master teams just to see how they do, because it does not affect their backyard status. So again, a great option for folks to just get out there and see how they would do. A lot of our backyard teams are thinking about when they might make that move up to Master Series. So this is a great chance for them as well, to really have the opportunity to see how they do. So this year we have seen quite a few ribs contests. I don't know the exact count off the top of my head right now, but there's a lot. And we've also seen a few chicken contests being added. And actually, there's a really cool one coming up in Nebraska where they're going to do 3 standalone rib contests. So yeah, back-to-back ribs. It's going to be really cool.
Not bad. That's neat. All right. Next question. Will the chase stage winners be recognized at the banquet?
Yes, definitely.
Okay.
Definitely. We'll recognize them during the year as the chases finish, and then we'll go over that again at the banquet also.
Okay, great. And then another question. I know we're going to talk about it later, but is there when is information about the invitational coming out? I know we're going to get into that in a little bit, so we'll talk about that in a second.
You mean this?
I just didn't want you to think I didn't see your comment. I just wanted to let you know. We'll get to that in a second.
Okay.
So real quick, Emily, is there any media opportunities that could be going with this 35th year anniversary?
Yeah, we are definitely doing some things. So in fact, this weekend in Kansas City at our headquarters, it's not open to the public. We're still obviously being very careful with COVID, but we are having some of our KC-based pitmasters come over and cook with some media outlets. So we've got folks from all of the different news stations in town. We've got some national publications as well. Meat and Poultry happens to be based in KC. So they're going to come over, and it's going to be really fun. We're going to do a pork chop and cocktail contest. It's really going to be a ton of fun, and we'll get some great media coverage out of it that we'll be able to share across all of our social channels and such. But yeah, throughout the year, I think there's going to be some other media, and we got great exposure last year through some things that we did both in the Kansas City area, but also with the World Invitational and the Team of the Year program. So our goal is to continue to push on those opportunities and try to get media attention wherever we can. Nice.
Real quick, stay on the chases, Rick. The dates for the if you missed out on this one, April's almost done. This is it, right? Pretty much missed out. Not missed out. It's over. So starting next week, this weekend, what do you have the dates for that for the next 2 chases?
Yeah. May 1st through July 31st, August 1st through October 31st. So those are the next 2 chases. 3 months each, because there's a lot of contests built into those 3 months. Yeah. A lot of doubles too. So everybody should have a chance to get out and do 5 contests and see how they rank amongst everybody else in the nation and see how they fare.
That's awesome. I tell you what, well, have y'all seen doubles pop up more this year since COVID? I always said last year, I was like, there's a ton of doubles. I hope this trend continues. Are y'all seeing the double trend continue? Sorry to interrupt.
Yeah. I think personally, we were going to see that anyway, but COVID just pushed it along a little further, because just from a money standpoint, to put on a contest is not cheap, right? Mm-hmm. Then if you can do 2 contests back to back, that second contest costs a lot less money, but you draw more competitors, you draw more sponsorships because it's going to be a lengthier contest. I think we would have seen more doubles anyway, and maybe fewer of the really small contests because of the cost to have a contest anymore. But I think COVID has really pushed that along. And so that the places that are open enough to have a contest see so many teams that want to come to their contests that they're starting to have more doubles because it's just a lot of supply and demand.
Yeah, I'm seeing, just me in my little world, people will travel farther to go cook a double than they will for a single. So you're going to get more teams. And then you're going to get I know I like to cook against the best. So it's really exciting for me to see the rooters and tutors, the getting basted, the heavy smokes, all those guys come in and cook, right? So it's a great opportunity for these doubles because then they will come and cook those. So I'm just glad to see the doubles are coming in and sticking around.
Well, and then, we actually are also seeing doubles that add a one meat contest. We saw that this weekend too.
Right.
Yeah. So
I love them. Y'all know me. I have been a proponent of the one meat contest forever. I think it's great. I would much rather see a one meat contest than those other people out there on a Friday night. That's just me. So more organizers add that in and figure out a way to make money on it instead of doing the other people just for making money. Do a one meat contest.
Just to put the accountant on the mic here for a minute. It's cheaper and you make more on the one meat than the other people you might have that opportunity.
There you go. I mean, we love those other people too. Y'all keep buying products from us, but anyway, we'll move on. All right. So we were talking about COVID. COVID pushed the doubles, right? So I just want to segue into the COVID situation. I just cooked. Well, I didn't just cook. Earlier in April, I think 3 weeks ago, we cooked Gadsden, Alabama. It was awesome. We got there and they told us it's outdoor event. There's no more need for masks and gloves and wiping down. So either one of you, whoever wants to talk about it, I'll let you roll with it. What's going on with COVID these days?
I can start with, and Emily can fill in the holes here because I actually kind of did some contests earlier in the year to see how it was working out. And yes, we've decided that outside, unless the venue requires it, which could still happen, depends on where you're at, outside, there's no gloves or masks required. We still ask people to stay as separated as you can, obviously. But I was actually judging some events early in the year, and so I had the opportunity to ask the judges. I said, inside the tent, would you want us to see us change things in the tent? And it was overwhelmingly the judges wanted to leave it the same for now. Because we are inside, you're closer to people. And in fact, they said some of the things we changed inside the tent, they'd like to see stay that way. Mm-hmm. Like more space at the tables and that kind of thing. It gives a little more elbow room to do the judging. And so inside the tent, we're going to stay the same. We're continue to watch it and watch all the, the government issued suggestions and the different venues that we go to. And we'll change that when the time is right, but we're not one to be the first one to change either. So we want to make sure that we're being safe for everybody and safe for everybody inside the tents, and we're not being reckless about what we do. We did this, Emily and the staff and some of the board members came up with these COVID rules last year, and they really enabled us to have over 150 events because people could see, venues could see. I know from personal experience, at least one venue that I was at that would not have allowed us to be at that venue had we not had these rules. Mm-hmm. And thank goodness they had it because that happened to be the one I won last year for the whole year. So
there you go.
So
I think that's been the overwhelming response. I mean, everybody's like, "What do we do?" But if this allows us to cook, by all means, let's do it.
Yeah.
I mean, I think there's a lot of people that think whatever, but there's also others that, hey, this makes me feel comfortable. And if it makes you feel comfortable and it makes you want to come out and cook and it's going to do it, well, good night. Let's go do it. So everybody's comfortable. Everybody gets out and cooks, and everybody gets out doing what we love to do. So
yeah.
Right.
Well,
that's the bottom line.
I have to commend the board one more time because a lot of thought and effort and a ton of research went into this. We had a lot of great information. David Qualls was watching the CDC every day. It's just awesome. Like the whole board really came together to try to figure out what is the right path forward so that we can continue to have events and so that, we're doing the best we can for our members while also keeping everybody safe and comfortable. And, especially in some judging areas, you've got a lot of people in a small space. I mean, we were heartbroken when the American Royal had to cancel last year because we were working on it with them until literally they had to pull the plug at the last moment. So we had plans for how to manage 500 judges in, 2 different areas and still a combined central turn-in point. So, I think, we've really tried our hardest to make make everybody safe. And to Rick's point, we are getting great feedback, especially from some of the judges. They like having the extra space, so some of those things may stick around.
So I have two questions. One, real quick, is there still plans for the American Royal? Are we still talking about that, trying to make that happen this year?
So they have said that it is tentatively, and it's tentatively September 17th, that weekend. So I think we'll be ready to hear some exciting news, hopefully soon. But yes, tentatively.
Because I know normally you sign up by about right now is the sign up times for that. So there you go. And the other question is, I'm a cook. I'm not a judge yet. One day, what changes were made in the judges' tent that you're speaking of for those that aren't judges? And what is the differences that y'all did in the judges' side of things?
Sure. So we spaced them out, first of all. If you've never been inside a judging area, typically what would happen is you take an 8-foot table. One person sits on each end and then 4 people in the middle. So you're, on top of each other, even if you're a small person. And so what we did, a lot of contests ended up with almost like little pods. So tables facing each other and the table captain in the middle. So you would only have 3 people per table, for example, or some even went with a U shape where there were 2 people per table, again, with the table captain in the middle. So that was one thing, including gloves throughout and changing between categories. Oh my goodness, I'm blanking on some of the other, masks, of course. Yeah.
Yeah. And then a lot of times they'll put down multiple tablecloths, plastic tablecloths. And as you finish an event, you can just take the whole tablecloth up if you want to, throw the whole thing away, and you got a brand new one to start over. Some places do that, some of them don't, but it's really changing the gloves after every time, making sure your mask is on when you're up and walking around, especially. The table captains are in the middle. It's typically a U shape if that works out best, and just gives you more space. And then, just all the rules, like if you're going to go to Walmart or your grocery store, it's pretty much the same thing.
So basically, what I'm assuming here, there used to be a table captain per table, and now there's a table captain for multiple tables. Is that?
It's still one set of 6 judges. They're just spread out more. They're not all sitting around one table. They're sitting around 2 or 3 tables all together, but one table captain for those 6 people.
Yep.
Gotcha. And James, gloves are hard to find. If you can bring your own gloves, I'm sure that KCBS wouldn't care. We sell gloves and they are hard to come by. But anyway, so, all right. Is there anything else y'all have to say about COVID before we move on?
No, hopefully we're through the worst of it.
And I'm reading some information, it looks like y'all are doing everything you can to save money through this because it has been a very expensive way of doing things, right? Everything about COVID has made everything more expensive. Whatever. It's whatever. But y'all are doing a real good job. So, all right. So we got the health. Everybody's taken care of. And I love what y'all are doing. I love what you said, take care. We're not the first ones to do anything. That would mean you're not just reacting. You're making sure that everything is done the proper way and doing it correctly. So thank y'all for that. All right. Now, what most people have wanted to talk about, and we've been holding off a little bit. Now let's get into, before we get there, tell me about a little bit about the Turkey Foundation, Emily.
Sure. So we have been working with the National Turkey Federation for the last couple of years, and we've really grown the program. So they have their turkey smoke program. And this year, what they wanted to do was something really exciting. And so there's actually a turkey smoke team of the year points chase. So there are 17 turkey smoke contests at KCBS sanctioned events. And those are listed on the KCBS website. You can see where they're going to be. Some of them have already happened. But this year, all of the points, when you cook in a turkey smoke, those points will accumulate. So if you cook at multiple contests where there are turkey smoke, there's going to be its own points chase, and there will be additional prize money and things like that. I do want to make sure that everybody who's listening knows that the rules for turkey smoke are a little bit different this year. So they really wanted to try to get it a little bit closer to kind of the traditional KCBS meats. So the garnish can no longer be, like mashed potatoes at the bottom of the box, right? Our KCBS garnish rules apply. So we have seen a couple of times when that has happened because people didn't read the rules. And so that's heartbreaking to have to award a 1 in appearance, but it has had to happen a few times. So anyway, I just really would encourage everybody to still do it because it's a ton of fun. The meat's all provided. There's no entry fee. So, it's a great thing to participate and also to support the National Turkey Federation and all of the turkey producers across the country. So that's really a great program. No risk, basically. Mm-hmm. So definitely encourage people to do it, but also to just make sure that they read the rules.
Yeah. So my buddy Aaron Stouffer is asked how many of these turkey comps count. So is it a top 5 scorers or how does that work?
They all count. So, it's a little bit, it's not, we're not saying top 5 necessarily. They all count.
Okay. So is this a KCBS thing or is this who KCBS partnered with the National Turkey Federation?
It's KCBS and National Turkey Federation partnership together.
Okay, good.
Yeah.
And then the National Pork Board, what's up with what are we doing?
Yeah. So
I'm just trying to, give out some good information here.
I appreciate it. So the National Pork Board, they came to us this year, and as we were talking about opportunities, one of the things that we talked about is obviously pork is 2 of the main KCBS categories. And so people are already cooking with pork butt and ribs, but they wanted to also be thinking about pork chops and loins. They're always thinking about how they can increase the overall value of the loin meat. I know that from my past days for sure. So anyway, as we thought about different opportunities, we thought it would be really fun to put together a program that we have now called Celebrate Real Pork. And there are 14 contests across the country that were selected for this first year. So they will have a bone-in pork chop contest for, I'm calling it the adults because it's for the Master Series and backyard teams. And then there will also be Kids Q at those. So the younger kids will cook ground pork and the older kids will cook boneless pork chops. So so that's really exciting. And they're putting up extra prize money. Same thing. It's no entry fee for the teams to compete. Now with pork, the teams do bring their own meat. So it is not meat provided. In all honesty, the whole meat provided thing, it's great for the teams, but it is really hard from a logistics perspective for all of that. So, so anyway, National Pork Board is really excited about that. And we are actually, KCBS is doing some media outreach with the National Pork Board for the month of May for National Barbecue Month. So we're going to head up to Des Moines, which is where they've got their offices and their innovation kitchen. So we're going to be doing some media from there with one of our top pitmasters. Brad Leninger of Getting Basted is going to come out as
he's decent.
Yeah, he's decent. He knows what he's talking about. No, it's going to be great. So we're going to have him featured as our reigning Team of the Year world champion and certainly our Rib King of the Year too.
I think that is awesome because here in Georgia, we have another sanctioning body, the Georgia Barbecue Association. It is just pork. So they do loin, pork, shoulder, butt, and then ribs. I think that would be awesome here in Georgia to have a KCBS contest, part of that pork, because that would be a way to get some of those other teams that cook the other sanctioning body to jump over and cook a KCBS contest for that pork, that ancillary. That might be something that gets somebody to come over to cook a KCBS contest, because they can cook a loin, right? They're going to be able to cook a loin. That's one of their categories. So I think that's great. I think that, and I know Memphis and MBN is a big pork thing also. So, it's just something to get some of those other teams that cook different sanctioning bodies to give them a reason to come in and cook a KCBS contest if they've never cooked it. So I love that idea. I think it's awesome. Rick, I heard you earlier say that we are giving away $180,000 in scholarships, or 118,000, something along those lines.
130,000.
That was not even close. $130,000 in scholarships. What is this University of Missouri college barbecue program y'all got going?
Oh, so we've been
Sorry.
working with the University of Missouri. So they actually, come to find out, I was at the Jack 2 years ago, and I met Ryan Cooper, who is with the Smoke Sheet, and we discovered that we have a shared connection through Mizzou. And he was telling me that there was an actual barbecue class there in the Honors College. So I, of course, reached out, since I'm a proud alum from Mizzou, and they were very interested in doing some research for us. So we've been through now 1 semester's worth of all of the research, and now the students are putting together their proposed plans in terms of how we could better attract younger, collegiate students, for example, whether that be through collegiate memberships, different types of tailgating and or barbecue contests, whether that's, through land grant institutions or like an SEC type of thing before all of the different football games, for example. So anyway, it's going to be really fun. It's been kind of a fun, most of those things happen at night because they all have night classes with COVID. So it's just very fun and invigorating to hear ideas from them in terms of how we best reach a younger audience.
Yeah, I'd love to be a part of that. If there's any way what we can do, I don't know what we can do, but if there's any way, that'd be awesome. Because I know there's a big high school push going on also. So really cool. I know here in Georgia, Tom Tilley with the Pit Vipers, he's got a big pushing that. So I think it's really cool. Any way we can get the younger generation part of this is amazing. I got my son Cole, he's 10 years old. I got him a gateway drum, the 30 gallon gateway drum, so he can get practicing on it, right? For Kids Q and anything else, and cook hamburgers, but I can also get him to cook a pork butt or some ribs or something and just practice, because I don't know, I just want to see what we can do. It's almost an experiment for me with Cole to see if it works, and then see what we can do moving forward. Because I really think that the more kids we can get involved in this, the younger people, high school, college, whatever, it's only going to make barbecue better. So,
absolutely.
Awesome. Y'all are always thinking, and I love it. All right. So now that I got all that out of the way, guys, y'all want to talk about the invitation. And Emily, I know you are wearing the shirt, and Rick, you have nothing to do with it. And we've had questions about the invitational. Anybody want to talk about the invitational?
Before Emily takes off telling you everything she can't tell you, I'll just tell you that having seen what's coming, you're going to want to be there. Every year we try to make this thing better. Their objective as a board is really make the KCBS Invitational. That's our only event that we do. The World's done by the American Royal, we sanction it. The Jack's done by the Jack, we sanction that. Right. So it's really this is our own event for our own cooks. It's kind of like the Players Championship, for the golf. So this year it's going to be bigger, better, longer, more people involved, more events involved. It's just, you're going to want to qualify and be there. This is going to get to the level of all those other championships, and we're quickly approaching that.
Yeah. So what I'll add to that is, we took a really extensive process in terms of really looking at all kinds of different locations. It was great for me because even though I had done event planning and things like that in my past, being able to go through the actual event in 2020 was very helpful because we did a lot of debrief afterwards. We dissected and we got feedback from cooks, from judges, from volunteers, what worked, what didn't work, what could we improve upon. And we got a ton of very positive feedback. I think as we moved forward, though, we took that in and we actually created a very formalized request for proposal. And we did research on different locations across the country, particularly, just based on the time of year. We couldn't look north, right? It's just too cold and people aren't going to want to travel unfortunately, to Minnesota or Iowa. And I'm from Iowa, so I can say that. Anyway, so we really took a very extensive approach to this, and we ended up sending the RFP to about 24 different places, including some different tourism boards across the country to try to extend the reach. With our unique needs for that much space for hookups and campers and all of that kind of stuff, plus lodging for the judges, preferably indoor judging, all of those things together led us to some pretty interesting locations. And then we had about 6 that sent through their final, RFP that we felt like could potentially meet those needs. So there's a really strong work group that's been working on it. The board has seen it. So we're in the contracting process right now. And as soon as we've got that down, I think we'll be ready to announce probably within the next 2 weeks. So definitely sometime during barbecue month in the month of May, we will be making our announcement. So I might be reaching out to get back on your show, Brian.
No problem. You are welcome anytime. I've always said that. Aaron wants to know also, what does it take to qualify, and what is the qualification period?
Great question. So, and again, we'll roll out all of this information out, but we are going to honor everyone who qualified last year to come and be a part of this again this year. And then we will continue on our backyard side, the first place rib, first place chicken winners, and then likewise for the Master Series, the grand champions and the reserve grand champions. And then I think we'll have some surprises to share as well.
Nice. And when is the banquet this year? Is there any information on the banquet?
The banquet's going to be the same time as the World Invitational. That's a great question. So what we found again last year was that as long as people are already coming together, it just gives them the opportunity to do more things rather than to try to break that up into 2 separate trips. So again, a lot of great feedback. We had as many people last year that we possibly could have given the COVID restrictions. And unfortunately, we had to turn some people away because we couldn't accommodate that many. So all of those things went into our decision-making in terms of where we can have this event this year, because we want to make sure that we can accommodate everybody.
That's great. Good. James has asked, how can we get more younger judges? I don't know what that means. I've never been a judge.
I think we're actually seeing that.
Let me just stop that.
I know what you're saying.
New judges, and how can we get new judges into KCBS?
And I think we're seeing that. We got 20 something judging classes this year already on the books to have. I took my judging class this year, and I could tell you that it was full. The only reason I got in is because somebody dropped out. So the judging classes are full. We got new people coming on board. Some of the older judges still aren't comfortable coming out and judging, so there's spots open to judge. I think you're going to get some great opportunities to judge this year if you just look around. Some of the more high-profile events may be hard to get into, but there's a lot of other events. I was looking just today, there is plenty of places for me to go judge if I wanted to go judge. So it's wide open. I think you're going to see, we've seen a kind of a turnover in some of those judges through COVID.
Yeah.
And I think we're going to continue to see that on out based on what I'm seeing in the classes.
Yeah, that's great.
I would also say that I would encourage all of the cooks to actually take a judging class. If they haven't done that, but then also to actually come out and judge a couple times instead of cooking. If you're not in the Master Series, Point Chase or something, or backyard too, spend a weekend and go judge. I know Rick has he's gotten to do that a few times this year, and it's been eye-opening for him. And I think that's true for any of the cooks that we see that come out and judge. And I will say, sometimes the cooks can be some of the most critical judges out there.
Oh yeah. I can tell you that I judged a one meat rib contest, and I was sitting next to Dave Bosca. You probably know him, and we got done judging. Of course, you can't talk while you're judging, but after we got done judging, turned everything in, we turned to ourselves and said, we pointed at the same numbers. That was the best one. We both picked 999 on the same one, and then we were pretty much the same on all the others. But I got it was funny because it was the day before I was going to cook a regular Master Series event, and they needed some more judges for the one meat event, so I judged instead of cooking. And after tasting those 6 entries, I was going like, I better ramp my game up tomorrow. All 6 of those are better than what I'm cooking.
Awesome. All right, so I knew this was going to come up. I didn't really want to bring it up, but I'm going to ask anyway, because Emily, last time we were on, we discussed this with the judges. All right, so let me just start. For the new judging classes, we need to have the team participate and cook for the classes. But I think the other part is we discussed before there was going to be more of a centralized judging way and recertification process.
Yeah, I can tell you that. Emily can kick in at the end here. I'm kind of driving that through our retreat that we had the first of the year. So we decided that we're going to try to make the judging class and then try to make a continuing education judging class for the people that have already got their CBJs in an online fashion. As we got through COVID, we figured out a lot of things we could do online, and some things we could maybe do, as well online as we can in person. And so we started down this path, and the CBJ committee is in charge of this. And it's probably going to be the first of next year before we roll this out, because it sounds simple until I sat in a room full of IT folks talking about how they got to do the IT to make this happen. And quickly went over my head. I just try to, if I have an IT problem, I have to call my teenager, so it's going to be great, I think, when it gets all put together. And at the same time, we're going through the whole curriculum to make sure that as we put this online, it's the right things to be in the curriculum. We're going to be filming this so that, if you, for instance, you take a bite of a rib and then you can turn around and show the camera, this is what the bite should look like. And maybe we get a rib that's overdone and we pull all the meat off and we say, that's what we mean by pulling off the bone, it's overdone. And it's easier to do that online when you can cook everything exactly how you want it for the online, and you can retake it over and over. Then as you take these classes, the big thing for us is that we're trying to link all that. Like you go online, you take a class to become a CBJ, we want that to link directly into the KCBS database rather than having to enter everything all over again. Or you take your continuing education to show that you've taken that and you can continue to judge for the year, links right back to your membership. So we're kind of in the middle of how to do logistics for all that stuff, and then we'll move the curriculum, and then we'll move to how to get it actually online.
Gotcha. Awesome. I love to hear it. I know, and that is so good to hear that it's in the process and it's going to take time. I get it. It makes a lot of sense. It sounds easy. Just go do it, right? But there's a lot more planning. It goes back to what you said before. We're not just going to be the first to do it. We want to make sure it's done right and continue. I think that would make a lot of people, not that anybody thinks that it's bad or whatever, but I think it eases the minds of cooks. And I think the judges, from all the judges I've talked to, they're like, yeah, we would love to do that. I don't think it's going to upset them at all to have to take a recertification class.
And it's just an update. You can do one update rather than trying to get that out to all the contests and get the update interpreted correctly. You get one update, it's online, take it. Everybody hears the same message.
That's right. Awesome. Good. So, all right. I think I've had everything I want. I've asked all the questions I have. I think I've asked most of the questions that are on here that we can answer. Did you tell us the dates of the invitation or not? No. Jay, no information on that. I'm sorry. Jay just said, can you just tell us the dates? Nope, yeah. Can't tell you that. You got to come back in 2 weeks or 3 weeks, and we'll tell you then.
It's after this date.
Yeah, that's right.
It's not right now. That's what we're talking. All I can tell you is it's not today. Well,
Brian, there's one thing that I'd like to bring up and just make sure that as part of being the president this year, I'm trying to make sure that we're trying to make the board as transparent as we can be. And if you're one of those board watchers and you like to watch, if you can't sleep, you want to watch or listen to the tape of the board, we try to do, excuse me, as much of the board meeting open session as we can. And the discussion, you can hear a lot of discussion around when we make decisions on things, and good discussion amongst the whole board. We probably have one of the best boards we've ever had this year as far as diversity of backgrounds and people. And we've got cooks, we got judges, we got reps, we got organizers, we got everybody at the table. So it comes across really well. There's still some things we have to do in closed session, like everybody's aware that last year, just as Emily was coming on board, and just as I came on to be on the board for the first time, we were sued by one of the previous board members. And as part of our transparency, I have had the staff put information, actual court documents out on the member site. So if you want to know more about that lawsuit, I ask you to go read those and get yourself up to speed with everything that's on there, and what we've been put through, and the fact that we are a member-based organization, and we're going to do the best for the members as we can, and we're not going to be paying out money to folks that don't deserve to be paid out money to.
That's awesome. And I do appreciate that. I mean, I'm not a guy that goes in there and reads all the rules, reads every minute of the things. But I know a lot of people do. A lot of people, and y'all have been very transparent, and I think that's very impressive. And continue to do that because y'all are doing a great job. No, Bill, there has not been a location might have been decided, but we're not going to announce it yet. We're going to come back in a couple of weeks, and you're going to find out. Bill, you got to make sure you come back, buddy.
Yeah.
But I'm trying to read these questions as a. I think they do. Todd, I do believe y'all are doing a great job. Emily and Rick. So did I read this right? Rick, you hired Emily? Is that the?
No, she came on board before I was on the board. I gotta congratulate. I mean, one key person that hired Emily, really, the board did, but David Qualls went and twisted her arm and found her. She was with Smithfield, and that's how we all knew her to start with. But he was able to talk her into taking this job. And I can tell you that through COVID, the lawsuit, and everything else we've had to do, if we hadn't had Emily there, I'm not sure we'd be here talking to you today. Yeah,
I tell you what, Emily, I've heard nothing but wonderful things about you. I've every time we've had you on, you've been incredible. I've had the opportunity to talk to you a couple times about some other things, and you've been very transparent, very easy to work with. So speaking of Smithfield, did you say that Smithfield was going to be the presenting sponsor of something this year?
They're the presenting sponsor of the KCBS World Invitational. So They were our presenting sponsor last year, and they were really pleased with what they saw and decided to come back for 2021. So yeah, that's really exciting. And, they continue to be obviously one of our sponsors, but I will say that, they've also done a lot to really make good on any of the contests, from last year that were part of the Smoking with Smithfield program. And they still added to it yet this year as well. So, they're still doing a lot of great things. There's no doubt about that.
Yeah. And everybody keeps saying you're doing a great job. So, I have to ask, because I know people will call me tomorrow and ask me why I didn't ask you this. Is there going to be any type of, I know last time we talked, there was talks about a Sam's Club type series or whatever. Is there any for the different regional locations? I mean, because I'm just saying it. As y'all were talking earlier about the invitational, it would be kind of cool to have a KCBS Southeast, a KCBS Northeast, whatever. Is there any of that kind of stuff going to happen, you think?
That was one of the things that kind of stalled me out when I started looking at the team leader points, suggestions like that came in. That I thought we really needed to think about more thoroughly before we just jumped off and did some changes. It all makes sense to do something like that. But as you've heard tonight, we have a full plate. We have about 3 or 4 people in the office. It's not a large organization. Some of the board members help Emily out in some areas that we need help in. Myron's a great help with the organizers, and Ralph does a great job with all the reps, and everybody on the board does a lot of stuff. And that may be a bridge too far for the short term, but in the long term, we're always thinking about new things to do.
Yeah, I think it's a lot of fun. It just brings everybody in together, because my goal, me personally, my goal for barbecue is to bring everybody in together as a family, right? Like, we're all in this community together. We all need to help each other and do whatever we can.
That's a funny thing about what I learned this year, especially as being president. So I was trying to be, cook. Obviously, I've cooked all along. I'm trying to judge, and I've tried to help the reps at an event too. What I found out is we're we're all the same in 3 different groups. You know, the cooks like to get together and meet everybody. It's like a family reunion when you all come together. The judges are the same. You know, they come together and they see each other at these events. A lot of them travel together to these events. And then the reps, when they're having a big event, and they got multiple rep teams working the event, they go, a lot of them go on vacations together and everything else. I mean, it's funny that if you're not exposed to these other areas, it's really the same. It's just in 3 different areas.
I agree 100%. I mean, it's what's so neat about this barbecue community. To me, it's not like anything else. I mean, everybody cares for each other, and they'll do anything to help anybody out. I mean, we try. I mean, we have people all the time, and Ellen, my wife, she'll do anything she can for an organizer. If they call and say, hey, we need some help, you know, that's one thing we push. And Mark Porter's on the night. He's got Hog Wild and Brookhaven Hog Wild coming up next weekend. Great contest. And, you know, we want to do everything we can to push these contests because it benefits everybody to have a successful contest, you know. So if anybody needs anything, contact Ellen. She's going to hate me for saying that, but contact any organizers or whatever. If you need anything, she'd love to help you. My wife, Ellen, at Atlanta Barbecue Store. Emily will do anything for you also for KCBS Results.
Absolutely.
Emily, do you have anything else that you wanted to add to the show tonight?
No, I think, you know, just in general, everybody keep up the positive outlook for this year. I think there's just so many good things coming, and it's been a great year already. So, you know, we are here. We are looking forward to our next 35 years.
Oh, it's going to be awesome. I've loved it. I've enjoyed it. I think we've been doing it for maybe 10 years now. And we love it all. But anyway, thank you all so much. If anybody else has any questions, you better hurry up and ask now before we have to shut it down. But the last comment that I saw on here, Jason, my buddy Jason Hardy, the Rufus Barbecue Throwdown is trying to, and that's one that's been awesome. That thing is growing crazy. So they're trying to go nationwide, but we need KCBS members to help back it. And that's the only way it'll go, right? Is for the cooks the cooks have to back it. The cooks have to make it happen.
Exactly. Yeah, Jason does a great job. We've had a couple of conversations, or I've had a couple of conversations with Jason this year. And I think what he's got started down there is a real good building block to try to get something to kick off. It's got to start somewhere and build, and he's doing a good job.
And he's doing, I don't know if there's others. Emily, I think you said there were some other people doing some similar stuff in different parts of the country. Right. But he's killing it here in the Southeast. And it's not just Jason. He's got a whole team of people doing it.
He told me it was just him.
You know, he will respond real quick and tell you. And Janice, and that's the thing that has been. Emily said that when we had her on before, when we were talking organizers and everything. It's like it takes a team. It takes a team to make all this stuff happen. And it sounds like, Emily, you've got a great board behind you.
Yes.
That makes your job a lot easier when you have people supporting everything you're trying to do. So.
Yes. And, you know, Rick said it too. It's a working board. This group, everybody does something, you know, everybody contributes. And I think that's just awesome because we've got a really nice mix of people who are working on longer term strategic initiatives and putting some plans together. And then we've also got folks who literally, you know, for example, Myron, he spends countless hours on the phone with existing and potential organizers. And he's so excited for every single one. It's like, he just loves talking to these organizers. We joke about his billable hours and thank God his rate is 0, but, but he enjoys it. And I think, you know, again, everybody who serves KCBS does it because they have a true passion for wanting to see the organization succeed. And that is what I love the most. You know, occasionally we hear from some of the naysayers, but at the end of the day, the passion is really there to help the organization be the best it can be for all of our members. And I'm a big believer in, if you don't like how something is happening or you don't like, you know, something, don't just complain about it. Come with a solution, you know, come with a solution because it will be listened to.
Yeah.
And I tell everybody that, you know, email us at the board if you have a question, just a question. Doesn't have to be a complaint. I mean, we get plenty of those, obviously. But if you just got a question or comment or suggestion or whatever it is, email us at, bod@kcbs.us. I look at every one of those emails, and if I can answer them, I'll answer them. If I need to get expert help from somebody in the rules committee or somebody with one of the other committees, I'll get that for you, but you will get an answer.
I tell you what, I can tell you right now, I asked Emily a question about a rule. She got back with me. Childs called me back, and we got it. I mean, I was like, man, this is amazing. I was so impressed. I was like, KCBS is doing wonderful things. I just think that KCBS is killing it. Everybody's using your point system and everything else for other points chases. So keep doing a great job, and I appreciate everything y'all do. And I know I've kept you longer than you need to be on tonight. I do appreciate y'all coming on the show tonight and talking about KCBS. And Emily, I'm going to hold it to you. You're going to have to come on and talk.
You
about
got it. You got it. I promise.
In a couple of weeks, we will have that information.
Sounds good.
But anyway, thank you so much. I hope you all have a wonderful night. Go back, share the page, get this information out to as many people as we can, because this is what it's all about here in the barbecue world. So, guys, thank you so much.
Thank you, Brian.
Y'all can stay on if you want to, but if not, you can run off. But y'all all have a wonderful night, and we'll talk to you soon.
Thanks,
Thank you.